Hello, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Hi, good evening, Ma. Oh,
Good evening, doctor.
Yes, yeah, thank you for that response. Just to check also my microphone to make sure that you can hear me. So that's sometimes when I say good evening, it's just to also check my mic. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, doctor.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening. All righty.
Good evening.
Okay. Yes, hi. So, good evening and welcome to the class. There's a reason why last week I did a lecture on carbohydrate, and after that, I did make an announcement. Good evening, Ma. I did make an announcement that in case that I would like suggestions. So I've had so many questions on carbohydrate that I'm going to mute. Yes. So I've had so many questions on carbohydrate ever since I did the last evening class. So I just said, okay, you know what? Maybe there's a need for me to do an additional clarification because there were so many questions and just people just wanted to know more about carbohydrate because it dawned on everybody that we live in a carbohydrate world. And if we know how to use the carbohydrate properly, then we can either live long, and if we don't know how to use the carbohydrate properly, then not that the end is near, but it's also good to know. Then second thing is about the carbohydrate is that we've been hearing carbohydrate, but I was doing like a small survey, just asking people like, okay, um, this one of my clients, I asked, the person is a diabetic. I asked her, I said, do you know when you have too much carbohydrate in your food or in your meal? And you know what she said? She said no, she has no idea. She has never even thought about too much carbohydrate. The only thing she knows is if she has too little carbohydrate when she's shaky because she's a diabetic. So she was describing the effect of hypoglycemia. I just went around just asking people about carbohydrate, and I realized there's a gap in knowledge on, first of all, what is carbohydrate? Secondly, why are we even taking carbohydrate? Number three, what are the sources of carbohydrate? People don't even know the sources of carbohydrate. And then number four, how much is too much? And then if you pass your mark, what happens to you? So for me, it might look like I'm repeating, but from I rather, for me anyway, I rather you know everything about carbohydrate and you go and abuse it than abuse it because you didn't know. Today also, there's a lady, she stays with me always, and I was asking her about if she knows that beans is mostly carbohydrate. She said impossible. She said even if they gave her an examination like WAEC, she would fail it. That beans is all protein. And I had to go on the internet. I was like, see finish when you see somebody every day. I was like, I'm going to go online. And I just typed, let me tell you what I simply typed. I just typed, what did I type? I typed carbohydrate in beans. And you know what it showed? It showed that beans is mostly carbohydrate. That was the first thing. And she's still shocked till now. So I just thought it should be okay for me to do a clarification lecture because so many people have called since we finished our last lecture to ask what is this carbohydrate, what is this carbohydrate, and what is carbohydrate not. So I'm going to just, there is some question about how much of carbohydrate is in what? How much of carbohydrate is in rice? How much of carbohydrate is in beans? How much of carbohydrate is in this? So I'm going to cover that. So it's just a clarification lecture based on all the questions that came up the last time. So that is where we are. But I promise you, it is not going to be a waste of time. Just add to your bowl of knowledge. It's going to be a sweet, short lecture that you will enjoy. Once again, so I'm going to share my screen. This is me. Hello, everyone. Hi, it's good to see you. So I'm going to share my screen now, and then we can take it from there. Okie dokie. Says I'm sharing my screen. Okay. Okay, so once again, good evening and welcome to the lecture. Today we are, 1 second, I'm going to drink just a tiny water. Okay. We are going to, why is it tiny water? Because we do 6 before 6. So if you want to clear your throat like that, you can actually take a small sip and keep it moving. You do your water in the morning between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. You drink all your water requirement during those hours. That is what we teach. So that if you need to urinate, you don't wake up all night urinating like 3 times a night and destroying your heart. So that's the lecture there. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, I'm hoping that they can see the screen. Okay. Okay. So once again, we are on carbohydrate. I did a small introduction before most people join that carbohydrate, we live in a world of carbohydrate. Like it's impossible to avoid carbohydrate. And the sad news is that if you ask anybody, do you know when you have too much carbohydrate? 90% of the world will tell you no, they don't know. Only diabetics will know when they have too little carbohydrate because they have an effect called hypoglycemia. A lot of people don't know if you pass your mark of diabetes, what happens to the body. And I think that is why so many people at old age end up with heart diseases, cancer, diabetes, arthritis, knee pain, and everything because of just something as simple of carbohydrate. And when someone dies, nobody says she died because of carbohydrate. No, they will say they died because of diabetes, because of this. But so that is why we brought up the question: could carbohydrate be a silent killer that we are not paying attention to? So that is what we are going to tackle today. So as a way to introduce this, my objective is to explore the relationship between improper consumption of carbohydrate and chronic inflammation, which is the root, which is at the root of most of the lifestyle conditions like heart disease, autoimmune disorder, even cancer. So we are going to talk about it today. And then in today's health conscious world, carbohydrates have received a lot of attention, sometimes praises, sometimes blame. Many wonder, are carbohydrates the new silent killer? But before we condemn carbohydrates altogether, it is essential to understand what carbohydrates are, how they affect the body, and what role they play in systemic inflammation. So today we are going to talk about carbohydrate and inflammation. So first of all, what is inflammation. What is this systemic inflammation? So what is it? Systemic chronic inflammation, the true silent killer. Okay, what is it? Okay, please, you really have to know this, because 99% of everybody that is on long-term medication, this was the reason. So please pay attention. Systemic chronic inflammation is what? A persistent one, low-grade inflammation that exists throughout the body, often without any visible symptom. Please underline the word without visible symptom. You know, some people, you just feel like, I'm not getting myself. I'm not as strong as I used to be. I cannot run as fast as I used to run. I cannot do the things I used to do. The truth of the matter is that all you'll be suffering from is just that chronic, low-grade, systemic, persistent inflammation. Then you go to the doctor. They'll run the normal labs. They will say they cannot find anything. You'll just be going. You say, hey, but this pain has not gone away. They cannot find anything. But this one, they cannot find anything. Then why are you feeling the way you're feeling? This is the answer. So anytime you feel you're not getting yourself, there's a very high chance that you're suffering from what they call systemic chronic inflammation. Systemic chronic inflammation. I'm so sorry, 99% of doctors will not give you that diagnosis. You know why? Because there's no drug for it. But in Dr. Physique or at home or just in your kitchen cabinet, there's a drug for it. But it's not strong enough until that systemic chronic inflammation goes far enough to destroy the cells, destroy the tissue, destroy the organ, then the doctors can give you a diagnosis. That is when the equipment and the lab tests will pick up. Now, the only thing the lab tests can pick up, which we don't even check in Nigeria as much, is what they call C-reactive protein and C-reactive protein and maybe erythrocyte sedimentation rate. Is not common labs, because we want to check kidney function test is normal, liver function test is normal. I went to cardiologist, is normal. I went to gastroenterologist, is normal, because the systemic chronic inflammation has not lasted long enough to damage all the cells, get to the tissue and the organ for the organic doctors to pick it up. And when I say organic doctor, I'm talking doctor of heart is cardiologist, doctor of stomach, gastroenterologist, doctor of prostate, urologist, like that, like that. Now, look at the second sentence there. It says, unlike acute inflammation, which helps the body heal after an injury, chronic inflammation is damaging and leads to tissue breakdown, one, immune dysfunction, two, and long-term diseases. Honestly, if you understand this slide properly, I just have to rush through the rest of the presentation. So what is the take home? The take home is that when you're not getting yourself and you're going from one hospital to another trying to find what is wrong with you, Dr. Susan, I've told you today what is wrong with you. What may just be wrong with you could just be that you're at that stage of a systemic chronic inflammation, low
Please, we
grade.
cannot see the slide.
Okay, I've not moved the slide, so I'm so sorry. Hang on. Uh-oh. How that happened, I don't know. Thank you so much for calling my attention to that. But I hope you heard me. Okay. Please, I'm sincerely sorry. I didn't know that you couldn't see my slide. So I've not moved from this introduction. The introduction is here. I just read this and this is it. So this is it. So once again, since you couldn't see the slide, I apologize for that. What is systemic chronic inflammation? Systemic chronic inflammation, everybody will eventually develop systemic chronic inflammation if you don't have it right now as I'm talking to you. So it's good for you to know. The reason being that if you go to the hospitals running from up and down and they keep checking liver function, kidney function, checking everywhere and they don't see anything, there's a high chance that you're suffering from systemic chronic inflammation. And this systemic chronic inflammation is usually not strong enough for the labs and scans to pick up. So that is why it says it's often without visible symptoms. Number two, I said, unlike acute inflammation, you hit your hand, it swells up, but those acute or high fever, those are like acute inflammation symptoms. Chronic inflammation is damaging and leads to tissue breakdown, immune dysfunction, and long-term diseases. So that is why I was trying to say that if you understand that, then I have done a very big thing for a lot of people. And I'll show you how to get rid of it also. So systemic chronic inflammation, this word, systemic chronic inflammation, okay, it slowly but gradually will result in cardiovascular disease. What is cardiovascular disease? It's not only BP. Cardiovascular disease could be enlarged heart, narrowing of anything that is wrong with the cardiovascular system. There are so many. Not only because when people hear cardiovascular disease, they think of high BP. It's not only high BP. There's a lot of things that could be wrong with the heart. So cardiovascular disease in general, type 2 diabetes, obesity, Alzheimer's, all this forgetfulness, and you don't remember anything, chronic systemic inflammation, arthritis, cancer, kidney, liver disease. But what I want you to ever remember is that when it is starting at a low grade, you will not see it until they do a lab test, until everything is wrong before it will show up. Now, what causes it? Okay, we know that of all the other things that causes chronic systemic low persistent inflammation that will end up making everybody age fast and be on drugs for the rest of their lives, carbohydrate is at the head of it. So they say, is carbohydrate the culprit? Well, not all carbohydrate. So what I want you to take from here is that when it comes to carbohydrate, type matters, quantity matters, frequency of intake matters. Three things: the type, the quantity, and frequency of intake matters. If you're doing mostly refined carbohydrate like bread or sugary drinks or pastries, then the inflammatory markers are higher and faster and damaging. So that is it. But if you do unrefined, it's slower. But either way, inflammation will happen in your body. So that is why it says here that excess carbohydrates can lead to blood sugar imbalance, which can lead to insulin resistance, which can lead to inflammation and the disease, etc. Now, inflammation. So when this chronic, low-grade chronic inflammation happens, now why are we even talking about low-grade chronic inflammation? Is because last lecture, for those of you that were here, I did make a general sentence that whenever you take carbohydrate in your mouth, any form of carbohydrate, whether it is plantain, yam, potato, rice, gari, fufu, pounded yam, any of those, the first thing your body does is to convert it to glucose. Then I now added that once it converts it to glucose, it will get used up immediately, but the ones that are not used up can be stored in the body, maybe in the muscle or liver as glycogen. And those ones that are stored in the muscle and liver can easily be accessed, no problem. But if you now pass that level and you pass that your storage level, because we have a limit, then you start converting them to carbohydrates, assuming you don't burn it off. If you're a gate man or you're running and doing molue or whatever, you will be burning it. But if you have like sedentary lifestyle and you're not actively burning it, we did say that what you don't burn stays back to burn. That was last lecture. So when you eat carbohydrate, it converts to glucose. And we said that nobody will just carry glucose and start drinking. But because your food is not written glucose on it, we are now deliberately labeling all carbohydrate containing food glucose. Now, this glucose enters your body, it is used up, it is stored. The ones that cannot, there's no room, stores as fat. We talked about that. We also talked about the fact that if your body can accept somewhere between 100 to 250 maximum carbohydrate per day on a 2,000 calories, anything that your body cannot use again, it will start inflammation. So the summary is that excess carbohydrate intake will lead to chronic low-grade systemic inflammation if you don't burn it. So you eat carbohydrates, you go and lie down, inflammation is still there. But the thing is that it's a slow damage. But once the damage is complete, you will come down with the damage. So that is how it works. Now, so inflammation effect of excess carbohydrate. Number one, it will raise it raises your insulin level, increases. So when the carbohydrate is too high, the first thing is that the insulin level will go up. Why? So that the cells and the body can be able to utilize and get rid of the sugar in the bloodstream. Okay, but chronic hyperinsulinemia, that means when the insulin level stays raised for too long, you now have insulin resistance and the problem starts. Number two, excess carbohydrate will lead to belly fat, visceral fat. So anybody that wants to lose belly fat, if your carbohydrate intake is more than 100 grams to 150 grams per day, you will not lose your belly fat. Sorry. This is science. It's not me that is saying it. It's calculated, it's black and white. Excess carbohydrate from beer, from potato, from swallow, it leads to visceral belly fat. It also promotes oxidative stress. Remember, we talked about oxidative stress. We talked about if you cut apple, anytime we're talking about oxidative, if you cut an apple and you keep the apple, it will turn to brown color. But if you cut the apple and you pour like lemon on it, even if you come back tomorrow, it will still be fresh. Okay, so the effect of the lemon is an antioxidant, but the oxidative stress is what makes the apple to turn brown. So the same way the apple is turning brown and decaying, that is what happens to your cells when you're hearing about, kind of oxidative stress. Excess carbohydrate in your body will lead to damaged blood vessels. Excess carbohydrate would also feed harmful bacteria in your gut. Remember, we talked about the fact that your gut is responsible for 70% of your immune system. So if there are 10 things that's responsible for you to have the best immune system and you're never sick, 7 out of 10 is just in your belly, in your gut here. So if you abuse it with too much carbohydrate, then you can never have the best of immune system. Eventually, a disease must enter. Excess carbohydrate also leads to constipation. For example, especially refined carbohydrate. Take bread, for example. If you take 2 slices of bread, just 2 slices of bread, and then you take another 2 slices of bread, because I noticed in Nigeria, people like to do two slices, and it's not even a sandwich. Two
The essence
slices.
of a little concentration.
Sorry.
Yes.
It's, hang on. I want to mute. When you take two slices of bread and you take another two slices of bread, you've already done like 60 grams of carbohydrate. 60 grams. Remember that you cannot take maybe more. If you're on a diet, you're not supposed to take more than maybe 150. Remember, the highest before your body will start messing up is like 250, but nobody should even be reaching that 250 if you're not exercising like minimum 1 hour for that day. So if not, if you take 250 carbohydrate grams and you did not exercise that day, that excess carbohydrate is causing all of these things that we are mentioning. So what are we talking about? We are looking for graceful aging. The whole idea of this platform is that we know that the body, we are not supposed to be sick. Number one. Number two, the body is supposed to self-heal. Number three, what are those things that we are doing mistakenly and unknowingly that is taking away that mechanism for our body, that's taking away that ability for our body to self-heal itself? You understand? So this is why we are mentioning excess use of carbohydrate as one of the leading causes of keeping us on drugs for the rest of our lives. Okay, early aging, arthritis, cancer, and all of these things is because of excess carbohydrate. And today, I'm also going to teach you, even when you eat excess carbohydrate, what you can do so that thing cannot damage you too much. Okay, so chronic, you know, these chronic conditions will result in lifelong medication, poor quality of life. You'll be sitting, you cannot stand up by yourself. Early death. Instead of living till 150, for those of you that want to go there, you terminate early, and that's not no more. That was in the past. Okay, so I'm just joking with 150. I'm sure a lot of people will be happy with like 90, 100, 110. I've met somebody who said the person, he doesn't want to live more than 50 years old. So that one is subjective. Whatever you decide, however you decide, my only thing is that please, you don't have to go from a wheelchair. You don't have to suffer on earth before you die. You can still die healthy. I know for a fact you can still die healthy. And that is why we are doing this lecture. Because whenever God has put as your expiration date, that's your expiration date, but you must not suffer. So that is why we are here. So there was a question of last lecture, like how much carbohydrates do you really need? No two persons need the same amount of carbohydrate. No two persons. So that is why it was very tough for me to answer that question, because I realized there's a mathematical calculation to it, which I'm still not gonna overly do the math, but I want to spell it out. Your carbohydrate needs depends on your age. When you're under 20 or under 30, you need a higher amount of carbohydrate, because no matter what, you're moving, you're on the go, etc. When you're above 40, honestly, you should crash your carbohydrate intake to about half, because your moving up and down activity is cut by half. Or maybe if you're older and you're still excessively active, then you can increase your carbohydrates accordingly. And if you're a younger person and you are now more on the sedentary lifestyle, you can reduce your carbohydrate. So that is why it's a very tough question to answer, but I'm going to try. Carbohydrate need depends on age, activity level, and your health status. Example, diabetes and cancer, because cancer feeds on sugar, cancer feeds on carbohydrate. So that is why those people require lower amount of carbohydrate, especially simple sugar. Okay. It also depends on metabolic rate. There are some people that their metabolism or metabolic rate is so high that no matter what they eat, the thing will just grind, remove, grind, remove. There are some people that have a low metabolism, and there's some people who have a medium one. So you can see how much carbohydrate you need. Depends on your age, your level of activity, your health status, your metabolic rate, etc. But average adult like me and you and a lot of people that are sedentary, we don't need more than 130 to 150 grams per day if you're sedentary. Okay. If you're active adult, active, you're running up and down, running faster than anybody, then 200 to 300 grams is okay. Then if you're on a low carb therapeutic diet, let's say you're trying to lose belly fat or you're trying to lose weight in general, we are saying anything less than 100 grams of carbohydrate is okay for you. Okay, so sedentary lifestyle. Oh my God, how can somebody call me during my lecture? Hang on. So if you're a sedentary lifestyle, let me make sure that I'm still sharing my screen. Pardon me. Stop sharing. Okay, still sharing. Okay. Okay. So that is what I want you to know. So it means that 99% of people that I know who have a sedentary lifestyle, maybe because of age, because of their work. If you need a chair to work, like me, I need a chair to work. Your carbohydrate is 130 to 150. Every other person, they say 200 to 300, but the medical books in general says that no matter how active you are, anything above 250 is too much. So that is what I shared last week. If you're a normal active adult, the normal type, 200 to 300 grams per day, you can do. But some books actually say 250 maximum. Of course, it depends on your activity level. But for sedentary, it's 130 to 150 grams per day. And if you're on any form of diet, any day you eat 1 gram above 100 grams per day, forget about losing weight, except you're burning it off. So that is the trick, okay? Now, how do you calculate your carbohydrate? Well, it's complicated, but you don't even need all of this, but I'll just tell you your daily carbohydrate in grams is equals to total daily energy expenditure times the percentage divided by 4, blah, 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 blah. You know me, I like easy lectures. I don't like going too technical because I feel like if you have children, they should be able to understand this. But if you really want to know it, so the average person is taking 2,000 calories per day, 2,000 calories per day, okay? So that 2,000 calories times the percentage, 0.5, that is 50% of your total calories. So 50% of your total calories, that's 50% of 2,000 calories is 1,000 calories from carbohydrates. Now, if you take that 1,000 carbohydrate and divide it by 4, you see now it's 250 grams of carbohydrate per day. So that is how you calculate it. Some of you asked me last week, how do you calculate it? This is the math. But really, I'll give you the easiest thing. Just know that if you have a sedentary lifestyle, it's 130 to 150. If you want to go to this 250, it means that you have to be burning up to 2,000 calories per day, which most sedentary lifestyle don't. You don't even burn up to 1,000 calories per day. I don't know why. Oh God, help me. Hold on. like that. So that is that. Okay. Now the sweet part of the lecture. This is the only reason I did part 2 of this lecture. Many people consume excess carbohydrate unknowingly. Below is a list of common Nigerian food and their carbohydrate content. Are you ready? Okay. Even before going through this, I was just sitting down and I did one math and I realized if I did rice and beans with plantain and a soft drink, rice and beans, the normal scoop of rice, normal scoop of beans, maybe one plantain and one soft drink, I'm already at 165 grams of carbohydrate. If you're a sedentary lifestyle, if you eat after that, have you not finished yourself? So that is why every single person is suffering from some kind of a systemic low-grade chronic systemic inflammation that will continue for years before it will take one organ. Either it will take the pancreas, it will take cause cancer, it will cause arthritis, but it is there. Let me go back because I always say I envision empty hospital beds. I mean, even if in medical you want to make money, it must not be from admission. I don't like admission. I mean, there will ever be a need for doctors and the medical profession. I am a medical professional, but I just still believe that there's something that we can personally do to decrease the rate of how fast we run into the hospital. We just sit and do nothing and we end up in the hospital. We will not accept that anymore. So these are the things that I talked about. So fat belly, promote oxidative stress, damages this, that. Excess carbohydrate causes all of that. So let's take it one by one. Boiled rice. If you have that, your normal kitchen spoon, and you scoop it very full, like you heap it, the normal kitchen spoon, if you heap it just one, you're already at 45 grams of carbohydrate. Okay? That is white rice. I did not include stew or anything. 45 grams. For bread, like I said, I don't see anybody in Nigeria that takes one slice of bread. Usually they start with 2 slices for the people around me anyway. You take 2 slices the first time, and then you go for another 2 slices. 2 slices of bread, 1 slice is 15 grams, 2 slices of bread is 30 grams. If you do 30 grams times 2, you're already at 60 grams of carbohydrates. So 4 slices of bread gives you 60 grams of carbohydrate. For those of you that are used to eating half a loaf, it means that from only one half a loaf, you've already maxed out your carbohydrate for the day. And sometimes it's just a snack for some people with mineral. We'll come to mineral. Eba, 1 wrap is 50 to 60 grams of carbohydrate. If you have sedentary lifestyle and you're not supposed to eat more than 120 to 150, 130 to 50, you know the meaning. Good. By the way, if you're on any weight loss program, your carbohydrate is 100 grams per day. So if you want to lose weight, you can see why people are not losing weight. They say, I'm doing everything. Okay. Moi moi, 1 wrap is only 10 to 15 grams of carbohydrate. The reason I put moi moi here is for everybody to see clearly that that small tiny wrap of moi moi contains this one, 15 grams of carbohydrates. Fried plantain, you come to your house, say, hey, just fry me one fried plantain, the medium small fried plantain, 40 grams of carbohydrate. 40. If you eat 3 ripe plantain, 3, you've already finished your carbohydrate for the day. Okay, pap akamu. Some people, here, I have to talk about this one. Doctor, I didn't eat anything last night. I just had something light. I now said, Oga, what is something light? Just small pap. 1 cup of pap. That means that kitchen spoon, heap it very, very properly, is already 35 to 45 grams of carbohydrate. So I now say, is it not better to eat vegetable soup and half a portion of your swallow? Because it's not light. It's light in the mouth, but it's not light on the bloodstream. A bottle of soft drink is 38 grams of carbohydrate. Banana, one single medium banana is 27 grams. I know that a lot of people, they get a bunch. So they go to the traffic, they bring banana. Until that bunch of banana is finished, they cannot stop. So the banana, if they have like 5 banana, that is already 150 grams of carbohydrate. 5 fingers, 150 grams, 5 fingers. If you finish the whole bunch, you're already at 250 grams of carbohydrate. Remember, anything in excess of 130 grams for people that are in sedentary lifestyle is only going forward to do systemic low-grade inflammation. So if we end up fat, sick, admitted, we now know. So we need to cut our carbs. If you don't cut it, then you burn it. So there are only 2 options. So the first option is that you cut it. The second option is that you burn it. So if you enjoy carbohydrate, then go for like 6 hours of exercise. Of course, there's exaggeration there, but you just have to find a way to burn it off. People are like my diabetics, they said, oh, I don't eat oats. I don't eat carbohydrate. I just took oats. Oat has carbohydrate. 1 cup of oats is 27 grams of carbohydrate. Beans, I don't know why. I don't know who deceived all of us in Nigeria, especially me, including me. And in fact, I'm even the number one, that beans is protein. Just Google yourself. If you don't believe Dr. Susan, just put carbohydrate in beans. You see, the first thing it says is that beans is primarily carbohydrate. So you can see 1 full cup of beans. That means that our kitchen spoon, if you fill it up very, very well, you're getting 40 grams of carbohydrate. 40 grams of carbohydrate. And then after you get the 40 grams of carbohydrate, a lot of people will say, I need carbohydrate to balance it. Then they'll go for white rice, pap, yam, drinking gari, etc. So if you now drink a cup of gari, the small cup of gari with this one, let me check the gari one. Gari and beans will give you, what was gari? Gari is 60 grams, 50 to 60. So 60 plus 60 plus beans. So it means that you've done 100, 100, 100. So 40 plus 60 is 100. That's 100 grams. Let's talk about plantain. 36 grams. Gari, okay, I even messed up. Gari here, soaked. If you're soaking gari is 72 grams. The other one was wrap. That means, small wraps. That one was 60 grams. But if you do a full cup of soaking gari, 1 cup soaking, 72 grams of carbohydrate. So if you do 72 grams plus beans, 40, why would you eat again that day? You see why any carbohydrate above 130 is what? Chronic systemic inflammation. I cannot stop repeating it. Sweet potato, 27 grams. Gari, 72 grams per cup. Irish potato, 30 grams of this thing. Banana, I've already said it, 27 grams per one finger. Salad, 5 grams. Why did I put there? If you do a salad of only lettuce, mostly lettuce salad. That's the kind of salad. You can see that you can eat as much vegetable as possible. Look at 1 cup is giving you only 5 grams. So this is why on every diet program, they'll be telling you eat salad, eat salad. You'll be thinking, am I a goat? Why am I eating raw food like this? It's because no matter the quantity of the salad, though you're taking carbohydrate, the carbohydrate content is a little bit very low. If it is mixed green, not mixed veg, mixed greens, okay? For 1 cup. Pineapple, 1 cup chunk is 21 grams. But the problem of pineapple is that the sugar rushes too fast into the bloodstream. The same problem with watermelon. The sugar rushes too fast into the bloodstream. So watermelon is only 11 grams of carbohydrate, but they still carbohydrate. Why I'm doing this is because people did not know that watermelon is carbohydrate, pineapple is carbohydrate, even salad is carbohydrate, but you can see they have different levels. Fufu, 70 grams, pap, 30 grams, custard, 30 grams of carbohydrate, meat pie. People are eating meat pie, meat pie. In your mind, you're eating protein. Me, I don't even know what people think. But 1 medium meat pie gives you 35 grams of carbohydrates. Puff puff. Anytime you take 1 puff puff, you can equate it to 1 slice of bread. 2 puff puff, 2 slices of bread. 3 puff puff, 3 slices of bread. 4 puff puff, 4 slices of bread. 1 slice of bread is 15 grams of carbohydrate. So if you take 4 puff puff, you've taken 60 grams. Most people take 10 puff puff before you feel like you've eaten puff puff. So you can imagine 10 times 15 is 150. Shasha, it says 13, but there's some sizes that are a little bit bigger. Like 50-gram size of puff puff is 15 grams. You can see that okra has carbohydrate, but only 7%. So you can see when they say you're losing weight, eat okra. Diabetes, eat okra. They'll say, oh, okra is a cure for diabetes. Why won't it cure diabetes when it has such a low carbohydrate? It's not the cure, it's that there's no carbohydrate. I mean, there's a little carbohydrate. Salad, 5 grams, like that. When I say salad, I'm talking lettuce, mostly lettuce. When the salad I looked at is lettuce, mostly lettuce. And it was mostly lettuce and onions, like that. No, there was no tomato, or there's no salad dressing or anything like that. Okay. Corn, this is the season for corn. 1 cup of corn, 30 grams. Spaghetti, 1 cup, that is that kitchen spoon, full very well, 42 grams. Indomie, 45 grams. Cake, I just had 1 slice of cake. One tiny slice of cake, 40 grams. Apple, people eat apple and they say there's no carbohydrate, 25 grams of carbohydrate. Pawpaw, 15 grams of carbohydrate per cup. So it's just to highlight some of these things because these were the questions and I wasn't prepared like this. So I decided to do part 2. Besides, this our lecture is something that is just a family lecture, the little one that I know, I share, and you add to the one that you know. As I always say, everything I say is you may not directly apply to you as stated because we are all different, as you can see. We are all different. No two DNAs, no two-person process carbohydrates the same way. So if I'm talking and it is not applying to you, just know that I'm talking to the majority. And besides, I did mention that this carbohydrate will affect you based on age, based on activity, based on your metabolism, etc., etc. So solution, let's talk about solution. So the first solution for us to escape this carbohydrate inflammation is number 1, choose complex carbohydrates. if you can just totally avoid refined carbohydrate, you're better off, because complex carbohydrate, okay, focus on digesting carbohydrates like beans. Beans is carbohydrate, but it's complex. Oats is carbohydrate, but it's complex. Sweet potato is carbohydrate, but it's complex. So we are saying, even if you need 100 grams of carbohydrate, take it from the complex so that it will not quickly hit your bloodstream and cause inflammation. Number two, in the olden days, you must finish your food before you touch your meat. But let me tell you, if you eat your protein first, before you touch your swallow, you will cut off the amount of carbohydrate that will hit your bloodstream and cause inflammation. I give you an example. I went to somebody's house, and the person made Oga Madam, our healthy swallow. And I hope she's not on the phone here with us. So I started eating my soup and my fish, soup and fish, soup and fish. And she's like, oh, Dr. Susan, so you don't even eat your Oga Madam? I said, I eat now. She's like, I finished my own. I've gone for the second one, and you've not even touched it. I said, Ma, this is not how we are eating these days, though. These days, you finish your protein and your vegetable first. You block the road for carbohydrate. So by the time you come down with the carbohydrate, you decrease how much it hits your bloodstream, and you decrease all that inflammation that we are talking about. So that's why it says pair carbohydrate with proteins and fat. This slows glucose absorption and stabilizes your blood sugar. Limit refined sugar. I've talked about it. Eat more vegetable, because vegetable, though it is carbohydrate, the fiber inside of it will reduce inflammation and improve your gut health. Then the biggest one, portion control. Remember, I said anytime you sit down and you're eating carbohydrate, if you pass your mark at that sitting, the inflammation starts. So better you eat your carbohydrate. Like, it's not good to do, let's say you're on 100 grams of carbohydrate per day. It's not good to sit down and finish all of it all at once. Divide it at least twice, then you'll be better off. So portion control, even good carbohydrate can be harmful if it is taken in excess. Avoid carbohydrate overload in the evening. Nighttime carbohydrate will mess you up totally. So if you miss your dinner, take something like fresh fish pepper soup, salad, something like that. And that is why, I don't know why, but there's some, like in during the fasting, the Muslim fasting time, they come in the night, all the hunger, they start with sweets, rice, and all of them. And some of them come down very sick after the fasting period. Like their numbers are very bad because of nighttime eating. So for Dr. Physique clients, I usually teach them how to eat during the fasting period, which is just sacrifice it all and do mostly protein and vegetables when you're breaking the
God bless you. No voice.
I guess most people are not hearing anymore.
No, sir. Probably the
I'm not
network.
hearing also.
It could be network.
Maybe network. We are in ourselves.
Yeah, I guess those of us online can hear ourselves, but we are not connecting to her.
Hello, everybody.
Now we can hear you.
Welcome now.
She never come fully. It looks like the thing is gone bad again.
Yes, it's gone again.
But we can hear ourselves.
Yes. Usually once you're online, you can hear us. That is how to tell you that the problem is connecting to her base.
Yeah.
It used to happen like this, but today's own is terrible.
And they just about to conclude.
Honestly.
Just about to conclude.
Latecomers like me would have benefited during the conclusion.
I think the program is lasting up to 9 p.m. and it's almost 9 now.
It is
But
actually.
now we're supposed to be asking questions.
It's after 9 already.
After 9.
Okay.
We're asking questions now. Question and answer now.
Even if you ask question, she will not be. She
No,
may
no,
not.
we're not
get
not here.
So, let's go and process the meeting we have had. This carbohydrate business, only God will help us. So,
My brother, what you make man do no? I don't want to talk. Don't talk. Do this, do this, do this, do this.
help us to this vegetable and eating
I have to measure it.
meat.
I have to measure the
Now, everything we work on the chop now. Almost everything we dey chop now.
God bless you, madam. Everything, even vegetable, what would they talk before? Carbohydrate.
Measurement is the problem because
Say, how can you do this kind? The other one say, he said, the other one say, this is difficult. Or how can
But I think the activity you do is also important. Those big men who know they go anywhere, is worse than we where they run up and down.
Sir, you're a big man, and I know you.
Hey, Madam, don't join.
I,
Madam, don't catch it.
I know you,
Dr.
sir.
Fujii,
You're a
don't
big
catch
man.
it.
I don't. Yes.
Dr.
Oga is
Fujii
a
is a
big
big man,
man.
but
Oga
it's
is
not
a big man. I can
to go
guarantee
up and
you.
down because it's in Lagos.
Even Oga should are putting for him, I'm sure, in his office. Oga, you're a big man. Yes. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. So let's conclude. Um, I'm coming. Thank God for that break that happened. I don't know what happened, but at least I've gotten to hear your mind. The truth is that it's not that you should not eat. I said earlier, I want you to understand these things and then deliberately abuse it. I'm happy with that. But my fear would be that you didn't know and you mess up. You can eat everything in this life. You can eat everything, but just understand it. We are saying that for those of us that are looking for graceful aging, longevity medicine, cell regeneration medicine, all this healthy living and stuff, the scientists that are saying that you get to a certain age and a certain lifestyle where you need a certain amount of carbohydrate. Of course, if you want to take all your carbohydrate from rice, it's okay, but don't pass your limit. If you want to take all your carbohydrate from Gary, it's okay, but don't pass your limit. If you want to take all your carbohydrate from beans, it's okay, but don't pass your limit. The whole idea is that science now shows that, because we are now finding out why are people getting, because in the past you don't used to hear cancer, diabetes, this, that. It wasn't like this. It's because our rate of IT and sedentary lifestyle has so increased, our physical activity has so decreased. Now, there's a call for a decrease in carbohydrate intake. Our grandparents, they used to trek to church, trek to farm, trek to market, trek to go and visit their relatives. But you move from
You're
this
always in
before.
the car.
In which car? Even before I go downstairs, the driver has on the car and waiting for us. You can't even drive again for some
Mm.
people. Or you can call Uber while you're in the shower. You go downstairs, Uber is waiting, etc. Keke is everywhere. You understand? So what I want you to understand is just to have an understanding of, unfortunately, this is the situation that we have found ourselves. We are not as active anymore, and the excess carbohydrate is staying down, is staying back to do a lot of damage. Lastly, we can choose to just damage ourselves and get out of here. No, I mean, it's all a choice. But I believe that there's nobody on this platform that want to just damage yourself and just get out of here. You want to actualize your fullest potential as God originally intended and planted in your head. Anything that you've seen, either as a vision, you've heard, is something within you that is supposed to be birthed. But can you birth it from the hospital ward? No. So that is why we are here. So please forgive me small for speaking the truth, but go and abuse it. But me is that you have to know the truth, whether you like it or not, is by force. Okay. So for the food items, we are saying try to eat one raw food a day. If you eat salad, you'll be having low calories. If you eat okra, you have low calories. If you must eat a fruit, very little watermelon is okay during the day, not at night. Small mixtures like that. We are saying that if you want to eat carbohydrate, go for complex carbohydrate. We are saying that refined carbohydrate like meat pie, pastries, bread, puff puff, those one, they destroy the body faster. That is what we are saying. Your meal should be balanced, etc. Before I left, I was talking about water. Please do your water 6 before 6. And finally, detoxification. See, I don't want to downplay detox because the only reason, if you notice, the reason why I don't talk too much about detox is because the professional detox is a little bit expensive. Like if you do colonic hydrotherapy as a detox, it's like 70,000 or 60,000 per session. But guess what? It's still cheaper than a funeral or being on drugs for the rest of your life. Now, if you don't want to do colonic hydrotherapy or foot bath or blood filtration or anything, that fasting that I mandated everybody to be doing at least once a week is going to go very far to detox your cells, especially if you do it drinking water. Or you can pick a day and just eat only raw fruit for like 3 days. It will still help to detox. Do you understand? But there should be a deliberate effort to detoxify ourselves. And then, of course, it can be done medically and professionally. Professionally, it's like you can barb your hair. But guess what? When you go to a barber in Maitama, then you know the meaning of barbing hair. So that's the professional approach to it. But either way, you can cut your hair and still look good. So that's the whole idea. Okay. So that being said, rest, pay attention to your energy, oxygenate, drink your water, pay attention to your nutrition, exercise, because if you don't exercise, it's still not good. And then detox. So in conclusion, carbohydrates are not the enemy, but the misuse of it is deadly. It is actually. Chronic inflammation is a silent killer fueled by poor dietary choices. Awareness, education, and moderation are your best protection. You have the power to eat healthy and to eat for health and not for disease. So, Sha, I have said a lot. I apologize to those I have offended because I walked into a lot of talk. Kindly forgive me. It's not my fault. It's because I love you that much. And I want you to live long. So thank you so much for your time. And I will take your questions.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, sir.
Then, ma, I'm looking at hello, ma.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking at, for example, somebody takes salad every morning.
Yes, sir.
That's a good carbohydrate.
I'm not.
And then he gets to eat beans maybe as lunch. People like me who don't take dinner take beans as lunch. Then the balancing of the program, the quantity and the grams you need. Because
Yes.
if taking salad in the morning, which is carbohydrate too, but good carbohydrate,
Yes.
and they come to take beans, which is about 71% carbohydrate
Yes.
in the afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Then, are you going to pass the requirement for the day?
No, you've not passed it. If you do beans, let's say you take only 1 spoon of beans, which is about 40 grams back. In your own case, Ogashu, you look like someone that can take up to 3 or 4 spoons. Or I'm just joking. Let's say assume you take two spoons, Abi, or 1. How many?
Okay. 2 spoons of beans, ba?
Yes. Okay. So that's about 80 grams. Okay. Then your salad, remember we said salad is low. So depending on
Low.
how you prepare your salad, let me just give you like 20 grams at most.
Okay.
20 at most. So if you do or 10 self, but let me put 20. 20 plus 80 is what? Like 100 grams. Now, Oga, you of all people, you have never missed a day of exercise, to the best of my knowledge.
I do
So
10
you
kilometers. I
now,
do 10 kilometers every morning.
sir,
I do 10 kilometers every morning.
good. So you do 10 kilometers every morning. So it means that your caloric need is not that person that needs 100 grams. So
Okay.
you've not passed your limit. So that is the simple answer. Now, if you eat like this and you're like some of us that don't do that 10 kilometers mandatory every morning, then you have passed your limit. So I heard somebody say on the platform that it's not about intake, but it's also if you're burning it. So in your own case, you're still within the range and you're doing very well, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Hello.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you, doctor. I want to ask this diet. Will it apply to somebody that is, let's say, grossly underweight? Someone that is very tall and very slim. If you go on this low carb, this diet, will it go for that?
No, if you go for that, the person will die fast too. So remember, if somebody is grossly underweight, you even need to increase your protein and carbohydrate intake. So it doesn't apply. Remember, we said that maybe the person is having a very high metabolic rate and all of that. Remember, I said the average calories for everybody that we expel is supposed to be about 2,000. So the average adult, your carbohydrate is actually 200 to 300, the normal person. So this person is supposed to be at 200 to 300 grams of carbohydrate per day, based on what I'm hearing. We are just saying that if you have a sedentary lifestyle, that has to be reduced by 2. So it means the maximum for people that are sedentary is 150 under normal conditions. So I hope I'm clear. So this person needs more food.
Okay.
Yes.
What is
So it says, what is
I don't know.
okay? So I hope that
So I
that
don't know
was
what my
clear. So somebody's asking, what is the cause of heel pain? It's a major heel issue. Heel pain, heel. Okay, well, if your heel is hurting, there are too many reasons. Number one, it could be uric acid accumulation, uric acid, one. Number two, it could be wear and tear, Number three, it could be a neurological disorder. So from the top of my head, uric acid, wear and tear, neurological disorder, or some kind of arthritis. So it can come from those 4 places, but further investigation, physical examination, maybe a scan should be done. So heel pain cannot just come if there's no uric acid accumulation, wear and tear, neurological issues, or some kind of inflammation or arthritis. So the main question is, what should you do? Maybe you can talk to me later. We can explore options. But then it means we have to be specific. What are we dealing with? Someone says, doctor, please attend to my question. I have. Oh, I think because the thing shut down, I lost a lot of questions. So I'm sorry. Can you ask your questions?
Hello. Good
Yes,
evening.
yes, yes. Good evening.
Question.
Yes, please.
Can I ask?
Yes.
Okay. I want to ask a question concerning pap as a source of carbohydrate. Because the kind of pap I take, guinea corn and millet, I soak them together and grind after with the fiber. I eat it with the fiber. Okay, can I compare that type of pap with the normal pap we eat before this time?
That's just the question. And if I do, can we rate the two source of carbohydrate the same? Millet and guinea corn, and the normal corn pap. And the source of carbohydrate be of the same? That's my question. Did
Okay.
you hear me?
I heard you very well, and I will
Did you hear
answer
me, doctor?
I heard you very well. Okay, so
Okay.
your question is this pap that you make with guinea corn and millet type of thingy versus
Corn
the
and
regular
millet.
pap. Yes, versus the regular pap. Number one, of course, they are not the same. The only thing that you're getting is the other one is more nutritious and has a higher health benefit, but the carbohydrate content is almost the same, plus or minus 10 to 20%. It's not grossly different. Pap is pap. It's like saying honey. Honey is pure medicine, but it's just as sugary as the normal sugar. But the only difference is that while sugar is without medicine, honey is with medicine. But as a diabetic, it affects you identically almost the same way. So, yes. So what I want you to be happy about is that the inflammation that would have been caused by the white pap will be grossly reduced with the colored pap because of all the antioxidants and everything else that is inside. But for carbohydrate content, it's nearly the same. So let's say if you get 100 grams of carbohydrate from the white one, so this one, if you get like 70 to 80, it's not too significantly night and day. Even with the starch and everything, it's still pap. The only difference is that while the white one causing damage, nothing is fighting the damages. This red one, while it's doing a little bit of damage, something is there to fight it. So that's just it, but the carbohydrate is still the carbohydrate.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Thank
Sorry
you.
to, I
Yeah,
hope I
thank
didn't
you.
disappoint you.
Good evening, doctor.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. Recently, my friend, because I don't take sugar at all, and when it comes to sweeteners, recently my friend was telling me that this organic blue agave is better than honey because it's from the plant. So I don't know how far that is true.
Oh, I wouldn't put it side by side like that. Honey has a lot of health benefits, and the other one, yes, is plant-based. It's also has a little bit of health benefit, but in terms of medicinal component, honey still has more medicinal properties than the agave nectar. I call it a nectar. It's a sap from a plant. Yes,
Okay.
but the good news is that it's good for the vegetarians. It is sweet, but it's nowhere near as medicinal as honey.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it may not raise your blood sugar as high as honey because it's from plants. It's a little bit lighter on the blood sugar, just a little lighter. It's like comparing, it's the same story of pap and white pap and yellow pap almost. So if you ask me, it's a tough one to put side by side because honey has so much medicinal properties that it's very hard to do away with it. And this one too, it has a little bit, but it's lighter on the blood sugar. The person is correct.
Okay. Thanks, doctor.
Thank you so much. Okay. So
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello, doctor. Good evening.
Hi.
Okay. Please, I want to ask what's the place of Zobo, as a natural Zobo without sweeteners or sugar? What's the place of that in taking maybe after eating a carbohydrate food, you take a cup of Zobo? Does it have any effect on the carbohydrate that has been taken as in the body?
A little. Okay, you know, Zobo is pure antioxidant, right? It's almost like and I've taught on antioxidant forever. So it's an antioxidant. So if you take a carbohydrate And assuming you pass your mark, when those inflammations and inflammatory things are starting to happen, actually Zebo can help to decrease the effect of inflammation on the cells, the tissue, and the organ. So it's good, especially if you add a little bit of ginger, then it will actually help to enhance the metabolism. If you had ginger and cinnamon to actually help to metabolize and process the carbohydrate faster than just the plain zobo. So apart from that, zobo as a plant is still it has carbohydrate, of course, on its own. I don't know whether you know zobo it has carbohydrate. Do you know that zobo has carbohydrate?
Yeah.
Hey, it don't happen. Did you know that zobo has carbohydrate?
From
No,
your
I
lecture,
heard
we
it
now
from
know that
you.
everything has carbohydrates, like everything.
Everything has carbohydrate, just about everything. Yeah. So Zobo on its own is a carbohydrate. Sorry to disappoint anyone. And if you're drinking a carbohydrate drink, because of its medicinal properties, you just have to know. See, food, that is why people will just go and go to the clinic and consult the nutritionist. Just give me a meal plan. I cannot be bothered. But guess what? Even if a nutritionist gives you a meal plan, with this our little lecture that we have done, at least you understand it. You have an idea. It's like me now in medicine. I went to do an MBA because I have a little business. So now I understand what is accounting, what is this, but I'm never gonna be an accountant. So having this knowledge that we are discussing here, at least when you know that Dr. Susan said if I'm sedentary today, try and do 150 grams per day. Dr. Susan said if I'm excessively active, I can do up to 250. I think even if that is all the information you go home with, I am happy with you. But it's just to understand. Then Dr. Susan said if I have 4 slices of bread, I've already done my 60 grams of carbohydrate. So I have a little bit less remaining. So those are the small, small things. And then Dr. Susan said that everything except animal meat product has carbohydrate, even salad. I'm happy with you knowing that. So this lecture is just about just a general knowledge so that as you navigate this complex earth, it's not that complex, but you have an idea of what is going on around you. So that's just the whole idea. So don't be upset. I know that there are some things that you don't want to hear, but the truth hurts, but it has to be told. So that is that. I hope I've clarified lots of questions, and I guess we can call it a night. What is this? Majority to think, is it associated with inflammation? Majority to think. I don't know what that question is, but I don't know. Soursop is a good leaf. It's anti-inflammatory in nature. So you can do your soursop. It's anti-inflammatory in nature. When you go for a walk, first thing in the morning before food, how does that impact carbohydrate intake for the day? When you go for early morning walk, first of all the sugar that was stored in your liver and muscle, they will come out to help you to exercise. Okay, that's number one. That is why some people they do their blood sugar test at home. It's 4.6. They go for exercise. They have not eaten, no, they only drank water. They go for exercise. When they come back, it's 5.2. They'll call me, Dr. Susan, I've not eaten. I went for exercise. When I came back, my sugar is higher. So people actually take their sugar level. They go for morning walk for 1 hour, maybe 2 hours. When they come back, they expect the sugar to go down, but it actually went up. That is called, it's not like it's a dawn phenomenon of some kind, but it just shows that God has so created us in such a beautifully complex way that sugar is hiding and waiting for you to go for exercise in the morning. So now, if you wait for 1 more hour after that, you see that it will now reduce back to either 4.0. It's really weird because we have a diabetic center, so I monitor closely. Two, if you go for a morning walk and you burn like 1,000 calories and stuff, then you can now eat up to the 250 grams of carbohydrate for the day. So that's all I can tell you there. Okay, your chat line, please. My chat line is this same line that you got the invitation from. So so you can just our normal number, you call the normal number and ask for Dr. Susan. But my chat line, everybody has my chat line. It's not a hidden thingy. Okay, thank you so much for your time. And what about unripe plantain? It has it's a carbohydrate, but it's very, very healthy. So I want to thank you so much for your time, and I want to pray that God will continue to heal you, and God will, any small effort you do, God will maximize it, and you will have a good health. You will live long. So don't
Amen.
worry. Just be happy in what you know and be free. You're doing your part. You cannot be doing less than somebody that doesn't know. So no matter what, you're just ahead, and then God will perfect it. I pray for you even before I come to this lecture, I sit and pray. I said, God, I don't want to talk. You speak to your people. So if that is the case, then just take it that everything that I'm putting out there is from a good place, and it can only go far in your life. So just keep trying, and God will do the rest. Okay? All right. Have a good night, and God bless you.
Thank you, doctor. We love you.
We love you too.
We love you too.
Thank you. Have a good night,
you,
and God bless
doctor.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. My
bless you.
number is
Thank
there. God bless you. All right. Sleep well. Okay.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
Thank
God
you,
bless
doctor. God bless you.
Thank you,
We
All
Doctor.
right.
appreciate.
Dr.
Bless you.
Susan.
God
Bye-bye.
bless you.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Amen. You